Hong Kong Direct is your weekly racing roundup full of news, views, interviews, previews and special guests. And coming up on a bumper show today, we'll hear from the newest jockey to join the Hong Kong riding ranks. That's Harry Bentley, still in quarantine at the moment here in Hong Kong. He will join us through mid-April for the remainder of the season. And the two features on Monday this week, the Sprint Cup. Cam Wellington build on that devastating win last time out. It's a deep field though, including Skyfield for Casper fans. The Chairman's Trophy, well, Waikuku beaten favourite in this race last year, but brilliant winner of the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup last time out. Can he go back-to-back for Group 1 features? I'm Angela Jeune, great to have your company as always. I'm joined this week by Ed Sadler in the studio. And Ed, looking forward to this chat with Harry and seeing how he fits into the landscape here in Hong Kong for the back end of the season.
Certainly, it would be great to have Harry joining us here in Hong Kong. We know how tough the riding ranks are in Hong Kong, and particularly up the top where you're taking on guys like Joe Moreira and Zach Purton. They're formidable opponents to be riding against on a weekly basis, but Harry's proven himself to be a really good jockey in the UK and has also got the international experience, particularly in the Middle East. So I think he'll be a welcome addition to the riding ranks here. All
right, we'll stand by. We'll hear from Harry very shortly, but it's Easter Monday for us this weekend, if you like, if you want to call it that. And two feature races, the Sprint Cup and the Chairman's Trophy, but unfortunately, there's one big name in particular who's missing.
Yes, that's Classique Legend. Of course, he was going to line up in the Sprint Cup and probably would have been the favourite based off the way that he trialled leading into the race. His trial at Sha Tin down the straight was super. He's not going to be there. No Hot King Prawn, so the two fast greys won't be there. But I think it opens things up and gives an opportunity for a horse like a Wellington, for instance, Andrew, to really step up to the mark and prove that he is a top-level group horse.
All right, we'll look at those two group features in part two of the show. But as promised, we're going to start off today with Harry Bentley joining us live from his hotel quarantine as well. Harry, thanks for your time. But I guess time is what you've got the most of at the moment. You're not going too stir-crazy, are you?
Pleasure, yeah. Thanks for having me, first of all, Andrew. No, not yet. I'm holding up okay. I'm 7 days in today and doing okay. I'm keeping busy on the exercise machine, so I can't complain.
I was going to say, how do you handle it? Are you the sort of person just sit back and read a book, or do you like to be on the move? Would you normally be out running or riding the bike or something like that?
Yeah, I like to keep as active as I can. I can't sit still, so as long as I've got a couple of bits of exercise equipment, I'm pretty happy, and that seems to be passing my time pretty well, and I can just spread that over the course of the day, so it's going fine.
So you say you're 7 days in. When do you get out, and when do we see you at the racecourse?
My first day out is going to be the 16th. I think it's going to be a bit of a whirlwind once I get out, sorting everything out. But hopefully my first day racing will be on the 21st of April. So really, really looking forward to that. I think on the 17th of April, I'll definitely try and go to the races and pick up what I can and just see the lie of the land. So, yeah, really looking forward to being out.
Who have you spoken to, Harry, about Hong Kong? Because this is your first time here in Hong Kong in any shape or form. I'm sure you've watched a lot of racing, but have you spoken to any of the boys back home about the style of racing? Because the tempo is very different. I know you've ridden in the Middle East, but the tempo is certainly different to the European style.
That's right. It is very different. I've watched a lot of replays and every race day since I found out that I was going to be coming. I've been keeping a close eye on. I have the help of a few jockeys who have done some stints out here, Ryan Moore being one of them. He was incredibly helpful and gave me a good bit of his time, and I was able to really pick his brains and ask a load of questions which were on the forefront of my mind. William Buick's another person who's helped me an awful lot, and I know he's never done a stint here as such, but he's been in and out and won some good races here. So those jockeys have been a big help, and just getting a different perspective on these things only helps.
And how did it all come about in the first place? You move out. Is it something you've been working towards for a while, or did it come out of the blue to a certain extent?
I'll be honest, Hong Kong's been somewhere that I've really wanted to try for a long time, but never seemed to be the right time in my career. I got a call from Terry Bailey only a few weeks ago out of the blue, and he asked me if I would be interested in seeing out the rest of the season here. So it's been an opportunity that I wasn't expecting, but once that was put to me, it was extremely exciting and something as I mentioned, I wanted to do before, and this seemed like the perfect time to do it.
Yeah, it was an exciting place to live and work, that's for sure. So give us some background then, Harry, so anyone doesn't know. Are you from a racing family? Did you ride ponies, progress from there, or did you come to it late racing?
No, I've been lucky. I've always had ponies growing up. I was put on a horse probably before I could walk. So I've been doing this an awful long time. My parents were in pointing, which is, for anybody who doesn't know, it's like amateur jump racing back in the UK. So I was more into the national hunt side of things, but I've always been very small and very light. So flat racing was the path that I wanted to take from a young age. I was riding out for a jump trainer when I was 13, 14, and it just progressed from there. I caught the bug and started working for Gary Moore, who's actually Brian Moore's father, and started and served my apprenticeship out with him. And it's just rolled on, and I'm now going to be into my 12th year of riding, and or race riding, I should say. So it's been something that's just always been bubbling away. I've always wanted to do it, and I've been doing it quite a long time now.
And some of the highlights for you from your 10 or 12 years so far. Lamato would obviously stand out. A couple of Group 1s with him on his day, and he had plenty of them as well. There wasn't many that could live with him, were there? Was there?
No, that's right. He was a fundamental horse in my career to date. He was incredibly potent over 6 and 7 furlongs, and I was able to get the ride on him going into his 4-year-old career. And it was a fantastic leg up to have had, and I was lucky enough to win my first Group 1 on him in the July Cup at Newmarket. He then went on to win the Prix de la Forêt in France, Group 1 on Arc Day. So he took me to some great heights, and I also rode in the Breeders' Cup Mile on him at Santa Anita. So any jockey knows that you need those horses to propel you to a different level, and he took me there and put me on the big stage. And not only in those Group 1s, I was able to win plenty of Group 3s and Group 2s on him. So a really, really important horse in my career to date.
And on that win in the Prix de la Forêt as well, it was Arc weekend, obviously one of the biggest stages, and he's absolutely bolted up. There's a shot of you crossing the line. You're literally just shaking your head in disbelief that he's done it as well as he has. Yeah,
it was going into it. He was a short price favourite, and looking through the form, he was really the horse to beat. I mean, these things never go quite as smooth as you expect or hope them to go. But I was drawn well, and it was almost my race to lose. But we got a lovely clear run throughout the race. The gaps opened, and he just shot off, and all the conditions ground-wise and everything were right for him that day. And he was so impressive, and it gave me a feel that I've probably never had before. And I was in slight disbelief just how easy he did it.
Another important horse for you, Harry, is Biometrics. A Royal Ascot winner, that in itself is great, but the occasion surrounding it must have been something quite special. It was Ladies' Day. Frankie Dettori comes out, rides the first 4 winners, including the Gold Cup. He's favourite in the next race, 6-race programme, so 4 down, 2 to go. What happens next?
Yeah, well, it was an amazing day. Frankie was completely the man of the moment, and I think everybody had lumped on for his 5-timer, and especially in running, he shot off clear and was almost just a speck, to be honest. He went from halfway and put a good distance between the field. And then my horse, Biometric, just ran them down. I always felt like I was going to get there. But this horse's prep into this race, I felt was fantastic. He was carrying a good weight on the day, and I was perhaps a little bit slower out of the stalls in a way than I wanted to be, but I was just making up ground very, very fast. And that last half a furlong seemed a lifetime, but I got Frankie in the end, and he supplied me with my first Royal Ascot winner. And I'm not sure I was the most popular person on the day, but I was certainly very happy anyway.
I'd ask you as well if the feeling in the weighing room was the same when he rode his Magnificent 7 in 1996, but you were how old in 1996?
I've got to do my maths here. I was only 4 years old. So, I certainly don't remember that. But I know the bookies were probably very happy with me, but the punters not so much.
Well, there you go. Great memories all the same. Harry, looking forward to coming out, in a couple of weeks' time and catching up in person at the track. You've got 25 meetings to the end of the season to make an impression, so the very best of luck.
Thank you very much. Really looking forward to it. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing you.
Well, great to have Harry Bentley online there, and looking forward to 2 more weeks to go, and he's out for that Saturday the 17th meeting, Ed, and some nice background as well, some good memories, particularly that Biometric story too.
I remember watching that race, Andrew, and Turgenev hit the front and it looked like Frankie was going to get the 5, but Harry was there to spoil the party. A really nice chat that you had with him there. One of the key things about Hong Kong that a lot of people don't know either, jockeys don't have agents here, so communication skills are so valuable when dealing with trainers and owners, and for someone like Harry coming over here, who a lot of people might not know what he's done, he's got those communication skills, as you could clearly see, so he's going to be able to do really well in selling himself, I think, to the people that are important in the racing game here.
All right, well, let's have a look at the jockey standings, how they are now at this point in time. And it breaks down into 3 groups, really, Ed. You've got Moreira and Purton at the top, then Teton, Bedell and Vincent Ho all chasing on that 50, and then from Jerry Chow to Neil Callan from 6th down to 10th.
Zach Purton has made inroads into Moreira's margin as well too, with 4 winners on Wednesday night, or 3.5 depending on how you define a dead heat. But that's what Harry Bentley's going to be up against. It's clearly Moreira, Purton 1-2, a break to Teton, Bedell, and then another little break to the rest of them. So it's very competitive. But you look at someone like Ruan Meyer, Andrew, he's ridden winners at his last few meetings after it took him the first few meetings to get into things, so it does show that it can be done for new jockeys coming here. It
certainly can be, yes. So we wish Harry all the best of luck. Now, plenty to come up in part 2. We'll be looking ahead to the features on Monday and finishing off with a classic as well. One of my all-time favourites in Good Barber. Welcome back to Hong Kong Direct, part 2 of the show. We're looking ahead to the features on Monday afternoon. So a little bit of a change for Racing to Win. It'll be out Sunday night for a look at all 10 races on the card, and it's a really good undercard as well. So Racing to Win on Sunday night. We'll start off, though, with the Sprint Cup here, which actually comes later on the programme. It's race number 9. Big field, though. Wishful Thinker, Computer Patch, Wellington. So impressive winning last time out. He's unbeaten over course and distance. Big Party, Fat Turtle. Regency Legend, a little bit disappointing after his good first up effort. Voyage Warrior, who won this race last year, informed jockey and Ruan Meyer in the saddle, down to Beauty Applause and Sky Field, who was pretty good himself behind Wellington last time out with some sensational final fractions, and Winning Dreamer, another one of the up-and-coming sprinters here in Hong Kong. Matthew Poon rides him from barrier number 6. Should mention as well, Zach Purton riding for Casper Fownes here on Skyfield. It's been a while since that has happened, but Ed, I suppose the obvious place to start here is Wellington. What an incredible win that was for him last time out, equalling Sacred Kingdom's class record. He's a very exciting young horse, and as we touched on at the start of the show, there's no Hot King Prawn. We don't have those sort of horses in the race. We don't have Classique Legend in the race. So I think the young up-and-comers are the horses to focus on, and you can see here they rode him a touch further back. He's always shown a very good turn of foot. He was terrific on this day, and I think even though he's drawn wide, he should settle in the second half of the field, and if he can unleash this turn of foot at set weights, at a lightweight this time out, he's the one to beat for mine, Andrew. Yeah, Sky Field, it should be said about him, Wellington had 2 sub-22 seconds fractions there coming home, and Skyfield did as well. Computer Patch, that was a really good effort from him, and he's, what, 8 pounds better off as well? So it's clearly on that, he's got to be a player, hasn't he? That's a big difference in the weight, certainly. He was up on the speed, he travelled really well in that race, and he still was able to hold the rest of them at bay. The weight conditions of this race certainly help him. You know that he's going to be up on the speed making his own luck, and we saw what he did earlier on in the season when he won the National Day Cup. So he's one of the main hopes in the race as well too. All right, well, we'll come back and talk about a couple of the others again in a moment or so. But Wellington's trainer is Richard Gibson. I'm sure he's delighted to have a horse of his calibre on his hands. Let's hear from him out at track work on Friday morning. Richard, Wellington, were you impressed by the way that he won last time out of Sha Tin at Class 1 level?
Of course, you know, everyone likes to see horses win like that. He was, you know, he's very impressive on the day, wasn't he? He was. That's some turn of foot that he's got too, Richard. Sure, absolutely, yeah. You know, he showed a lot of power, and he went past them very well, off a very lightweight. Is that the best way to ride him, do you feel, rather than have him closer? Yeah, probably. I think his best 2 races we've seen him just take a bit of a hold. So you know, that's another sort of quiver in his bow, so to speak. So he's beaten some of the best sprinters in Hong Kong under handicap conditions. What about at level weights on Monday? You know, well, we just have to see. That's the excitement of racing. You know, there's always an X factor, but, you know, we're really happy with the horse's condition, and, you know, we'll give it our best shot. So he's come out of that race well, all of those sort of things? You know, we're very happy, just ticked along, and it was a very nice 3-week window into this race, so preparation's gone very well. Has he surprised you how he's taken that step up now to group level from where he was earlier this season? You know, he's always shown a lot of ability, this horse. It was just a question of getting him right, and I'm pleased we were patient with him at the beginning of the season, and it's bringing its rewards now.
And just a final one, Richard, what about the barrier with him?
Well, I think I told one of your colleagues that, sure, but, this is horse racing, and, good horses have to adapt, and he's got to adapt it accordingly as well.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it, barrier top? Not ideal probably, Ed, but it does mean maybe he'll drop back in the field and possibly it works to his advantage as well, comes at them late.
Gives him the opportunity to use the turn of foot that he's got, and that we saw last time out. Was probably a silly question to say, were you impressed by that win, Richard? Because we were all impressed by it. It was a really impressive performance, and this is a Sprint Cup for him, so a test now against the good horses at level weights before he goes on towards the Group 1, as most of these will, of course, for the Chairman's Sprint Prize, where potentially they'll be up against international opponents from Japan.
Yeah, Alexei Badal could hardly hold him as he turned into the straight. We touched on Computer Patch. Who of the others, and deserves a mention here, Voyage Warrior won this race last year.
He did. I wonder if that was a bit of a right place at the right time sort of performance. He was up on the speed that day. The track was favouring the on-paces. There was a bit of rain around on the day too, and it was a surprise. He was at around $24 in the betting. He's run a couple of good races since then, but I find him a little bit hard to catch, Voyage Warrior. He is capable on his day, certainly. Skyfield, I love the way that he was getting to the line last time out. Casper Founds has always been talking up this horse, and we know that he's got the ability and he continues to improve. Computer Patch we've already spoken about. I'm inclined to forgive Regency Legend. He's the other one I'd give a bit of a chance to off the massive run that he put in first up, Andrew. All
right, fascinating clash, and that is the Sprint Cup. We'll move on then to the Chairman's Trophy. We'll get Ed's selection in a moment. The Chairman's Trophy comes up early. Race number 3, Group 2, 1,600 metres. Southern Legend, third in this race last year. Waikuku, odds-on favourite, beaten in this last year behind Beauty Generation. Kaying Star finished second in that race. We've got Mighty Giant, more than this, beaten favourite behind Kaying Star last time out. And Champion's Way is actually £9 worse off with Kaying Star on their last meeting and a beating as well. So Waikuku, I suppose, off his brilliant win last time out. Ed, is he the one to beat? Or Kaying Star was very good as well last time too.
He was, and then what about the old warrior, Southern Legend? He rarely puts a foot wrong. He's finished second at his last 3 starts, all of those at Group 1 level. He performed well in this race last year, Southern Legend too. Waikuku, he's a different horse, I think, 12 months on, Andrew. He's a horse that only has a few good runs each season in him, really, as John Size has even admitted to. But because he started this season later, I think that helps him out. This was a big win from him in the Queen's Silver Jubilee Cup. Smaller field this time, though. I think the Kaying Star, given that he's got less weight to carry, the other two, Southern Legend, Waikuku, of the £5 penalty for being Group 1 winners, I think Kaying Star might take a bit of catching in the lead in this race.
All right, OK. You just saw Mighty Giant closing off quite strongly there. Ed was also out at track work to catch up with his jockey, Neil Callan, to find out how he's been off his last start run.
Yeah, it was a very good run. He hit the line very strong. The time before I rode him in the mile, he jumped okay, but I kind of let him run along, and he sat outside the lead, and maybe I suppose riding him like that over the mile kind of stretched him a bit, and he didn't quite get there. But 1400 next start, he jumped as well. He wasn't that slow away. He jumped normal, but he just doesn't have that natural early speed. So this time, I couldn't really dig him up to hold a position, so I just left him alone. And I just let him travel into the race, and it's probably his best run at that level, he's ever had. So, he's got a good draw. It's the same horses. It's a small field. It's going to become tactical. We know who's going to lead. We know who's going to sit wherever. But I think the most important thing with my fella is that he breaks nice and clean, and we just get him on the bridle. And wherever that'll be, that's the way I'll ride him, because I felt like when I let him balance up last time, he hit the line quite strongly. So if he can do the same again, I don't see why he can't run a strong race.
I think he's definitely one to be considered, Mighty Giant. The other horse I wanted to touch on quickly was More Than This. It hits a flat spot on the home turn and then finishes off very strongly. What do you think of his chances? He's
been trialling well, and his last couple of runs have been quite good as well, Andrew. He got to the line really strongly in this latest performance. So he's had 3 runs now. He's 4th up going into this race. We were talking about him as being one of the big contenders for the 4-year-old series about 18 months ago. He hasn't quite lived up to that, but I do think he's getting towards his best. Just the pace scenario where he's going to get to in a small field like this was my concern with him. But I do think he's got the ability to be a contender.
Absolutely flying late. The line just comes up a fraction too soon for him. So definite player again. Small field for the Chairman's Trophy. Bigger field for the Sprint Cup. Ed, who do you like?
I think we're united in our pick for the Sprint Cup, Andrew. I'm with Wellington. I think you will be too. And then, of course, in the Chairman's Trophy, I'm going to go for Kaying Star to take on Waikuku. I just think he'll get the race run to suit. He's got less weight to carry. He won't have to do any work from where he's drawn. And I think that Zach Purton, who's won the last couple of editions on Beauty Generation, I think that he can get another one here on Kaying Star.
Yeah, definitely Wellington for me. He's the Q horse Kaying Star. I think Waikuku will avenge last year's defeat. Now, as far as the diary is concerned, heading into this weekend, well, it's not a weekend, it's Monday for us, isn't it, with the two Group 2 races. And then Thursday back at Happy Valley after the week off. We had the dirt meeting here last Wednesday night, and then a return to normal action, if you like, with a Sunday programme coming up on the 11th. That's the next week or so ahead for you here in Hong Kong. Ed, enjoy the weekend and enjoy the action on Monday as well. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, so am I, Andrew. It'll be a super day of racing, and I think will give us a good guide to where the locals are at heading towards Champions Day at the end of the month.
All right, well, that's the show. Thanks for watching. I'm going to leave you this week with a classic, the Chairman's Trophy back from 2007, and Good Baba beating his old rival Armada, or Ho Baba as the locals used to call it. Enjoy this, and we'll bring you all the action from Monday from Hong Kong direct to you.
Felix Coetzee just allowing Sir Ernesto to amble to the lead at his leisure. Takes him over closer towards the rails now and leads out by a length and a half on Helene Pillaging, who's not being pushed to go into a forward spot, just sits up a handy second. Happy Owner third, and White's able to put the short price favourite Armada into fourth in a lovely trailing position. Good Barbar's going to track the favourite everywhere he goes. Then Joy for winner, and Bowman's Crossing is last. The lead split in 25-1. Sir Ernesto free striding in the lead by a length and a half to Helene Pillaging. Armada now goes into a clear third with Happy Owner dropping down to the paint. Then Good Barbar, two off to Joy for winner, and Bowman's Crossing being stoked up to take closer order as they race to the final bend, where Sir Ernesto at the 550 leads by a length on Helene Pillaging, pulling pretty hard. Armada third on the outside of Happy Owner. Then Good Barbar, Joy for winner stays to the inside, and Bowman's Crossing's trying to rev up, getting to the outside. Helene Pillaging raced up and quickly put paid to Sir Ernesto. Now it's down to the business end, and Armada stretches, draws level to Helene Pillaging. Good Barbar gives chase though. It's Armada, 3/4 to Good Barbar, who's running one heck of a race. Good Barbar draws level with Armada. He's got his head in front, Good Barbar. Hands and heels to the line, and Good Barbar beats Armada.